Khan Academy, and we are on the section Add and Subtract Fractions. We're going to start with the first subtopic, Visually Add and Subtract Fractions. So here they show you 1/2 plus 1/4. Okay, those are fractions that are not easy to add in our head because they have different denominators. So down here they have shown you 1/2 and they've shown you 1/4. So when we look at the picture, we can see that 1/2 is really the same as 2/4. So we would have 2/4, this 1/2 would be worth 2/4, plus we would have another fourth. So our answer here is going to be 3/4. Again, they're showing you on the picture 1/4 and they show you 1/3. And so to add those two together, so this becomes a little bit trickier because we can't just see it visually from the pictures that they gave us. So we need to actually think about making this into a common denominator. So you can do this two ways. The first way that I'm going to think about doing it is to find a common denominator, you can simply multiply the 4 times the 3. So that would be 12. And so in our picture then what we would want to be doing is making these into 12 sections. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we would make our thirds, okay, into 12 sections as well. So we're going to have to draw a few extra lines there. My lines aren't exactly perfect, but hopefully you can see what we're doing is making them into 12ths. So here I have 3/12 shaded, and here I have 4/12 shaded. So my answer is going to be 3/12 plus 4/12, which would be 7/12. Okay, another way to think about that is to just actually go ahead and do the work as if we weren't just working on the visualization. So 1/4 plus 1/3. And then when we think about our common denominator, okay, I'm going to switch them both into 12s. Okay, because 4 times 3 is 12, so I just multiplied my two denominators to get a common denominator, 12. And then I look and make equivalent fractions. So 4 times 3 is 12. So if I do 4 times 3 is 12 on the bottom, I have to do 1 times 3 is 3. And 3 times 4 is 12, so 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, so this is kind of our written way of showing it, but what I did here then was I took my fourths and I split them into 12 sections, and I took my thirds and split them into 12 sections, and then it was easier to compare. So now we're doing something similar, except we're just subtracting. So 2/3 minus 1/2. Okay, and again, when I see fractions, I definitely like to write them in kind of the up and down, the vertical way, and I encourage my students to do that too. So 2/3 minus 1/2. Okay, and then we need to come up with a common denominator. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to multiply 3 times 2, which is 6, and change both of my denominators into a 6. And then if I'm going to change my denominators, I need to change my numerators too because we're making equivalent fractions. So 3 times 2 is 6, so 2 times 2 would be 4. And then 2 times 3 is 6, 1 times 3 is 3. So then 4/6, take away 3/6 would be 1/6. Okay, if we wanted to see that visually, what we're doing is we're taking our thirds and we're making them into 6 pieces instead. So now I just cut each of those in half, and now I have 6 pieces. So you can see how 2/3 became 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6. And then with my halves, I'm going to split those and make those into 6 equal pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now we're talking 3/6. So now it's easier to see the 4/6, take away the 3/6, is going to be 1/6 left over. Last one, 3/4 take away 5/8. Again, this one you can actually see a little bit more visually. Okay, you can see if you have 3/4 and you take away the 5/8 down here at the bottom, that's going to leave 1/8 all alone right here. So we do know that our answer is 1/8 by looking at the picture, but we can solve it numerically as well. 3/4, remember I like to write it in the vertical style, minus 5/8. And then I need to make a common denominator. Now in this case, instead of multiplying 4 times 8 and getting 32, I'm going to notice that I can simply do 4 times 2 is 8. So I can make both of my denominators 8. When I make both of my denominators 8, then I'm doing 8 times 1 is 8, and 5 times 1 is 5. So it's a little less work on that bottom fraction. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. And then 6 take away 5 would be 1/8.